hope you enjoyed that Week 5 victory because now it is time to move on to Week 6 and talk about the Bears' opponent for Week 6 in the Carolina Panthers. What is going on, y'all? Fox Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan and you are not subscribed to the channel, I promise you are missing out. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Ton of Bears content, and here I am doing my preview video that I do every single week for the Bears and the opponent that they play that respective week. And I'll be back to talk about the game after it is played and give my post-game reaction. So weekly videos, guys, you don't want to miss out. Like I said, this is the spot to be for the best Bears and NFL content. So with that being said, follow me also on my social media if not done so already. Links are in the description down below and on the screen as well. So a lot to get to. Let's get into it. So just real quick, before I did get started with my preview, just wanted to reiterate what an incredible victory that was last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, folks, on prime time, Thursday Night Football, nonetheless. And I believe that win legitimized the Bears season thus far because it was a quality opponent, and the biggest knock on the Bears so far, even though they are a 4-1 team, had been the fact that they had not played a quality opponent. Well, people can't say that anymore because that is exactly what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were. But with that being said, got to put that aside, move on to next week, and next week meaning this week against the Bears' opponent, Carolina Panthers. All right, let's talk about this team and let's run through the numbers like I always do. All right, so the Panthers are at home and they're a 3-point favorite. Okay, so here we go again. The disrespect continues. So the Panthers, who have a worse record than the Bears at 3-2, are favored in this matchup. I get it, they're at home, but this season of all seasons, home field advantage should not mean much because of the lack of fans at home arenas. And so I don't understand how the Panthers are favored here. All right, they're coming off 3 straight victories, which I'll get into in a second, but the Panthers should not be favored here. At worst, it should be a pick'em, but that's what Vegas is saying. And let's talk about it, all right? Over-under set at 44. So I mentioned Panthers coming off 3 straight victories. They've beaten the Chargers, they've beaten the Falcons, and they've beaten the Cardinals, okay? So 2 decent teams, and there we already know the Falcons are now an awful mess, and they fired their head coach, Dan Quinn, about damn time. But 2 decent wins in there. And here's the thing with the Panthers. They have not lost a game since their best player got hurt. I'm talking about Christian McCaffrey, CMC. And since CMC got hurt, they have been 3-0. And this is the funny part about the NFL, where running backs really don't matter, folks. And you might be thinking, man, if running backs don't matter, for the most part, I get it. But at least should it matter for the top elite tier running backs? I mean, the Christian McCaffreys of the world, the Alvin Kamara's, the Ezekiel Elliott's. But the Panthers have a guy named Mike Davis now, who the Bears fans should be very familiar with, because Mike Davis was on the damn Bears last year, and he has just absolutely been on fire. I mean, Mike Davis has been incredible for the Panthers, and I'm telling you, he is literally taken over the CMC role and has been producing, honestly, folks. And it's been crazy to see here what Mike Davis has done. Against the Chargers, 13 carries for 46 yards. That's not that impressive, right? But he's turned into a receiving threat. So in that same game, 8 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. That's what CMC does. Mike Davis is doing that. Against the Cardinals, 16 carries for 84 rush yards and a touchdown. And then he also had 5 catches for 27 yards. And then against the Falcons last week, 16 carries for 89 yards, 9 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. Folks, he's doing it all over the field. That is crazy to me. Mike Davis, who the Bears had last year and let him go, is just ripping it apart with the Carolina Panthers, all right? And I might do a separate video on Mike Davis and how I am so disgusted that the Bears couldn't find use for him, because Mike Davis has talent and he's showing you here. But the whole point I'm trying to make is the biggest key, I believe, for the Panthers so far in their 3-0 record of the past 3 games has been the emergence of Mike Davis, because you would think you lose your best player, you don't get better. And I'm not saying the Panthers are better, but they're playing better. All right? Even though they might not be a better team overall, it's something about the way they're playing right now. And I think it's the fact that they were so CMC dependent that once CMC got hurt, they didn't have to rely on CMC every play. I feel like the Panthers kind of thought, okay, every play that we don't give CMC the ball is a bad play, which might not necessarily be true because you want to not be so one-dimensional. And so with the Panthers, what Mike Davis has allowed them to do is utilize everybody. Okay, Teddy Bridgewater gets to throw to his guys on the outside, and Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. He gets to use Mike Davis as the running back and also in the flat. You know, you can get the other guys involved, a little Curtis Samuel, a little Ian Thomas here and there. So the entire Panthers offense is eating, and that, I believe, has been the key, because with CMC, they wear CMC or bust, and that, to me, was not the way to use it. So when CMC comes back, and could it be this week against the Bears? Maybe. When he does come back, do they go full CMC gets 100% of the workload, 95%, 90%, and Mike Davis is left to get scraps? Or do they kind of do a committee here, if you will, you know, with CMC and Mike Davis? So that's left to be seen. But the point I'm trying to make here is Mike Davis has been a revelation with the Panthers, and he needs to be paid attention to. Okay? And like I said, with Christian McCaffrey, there's a chance, I believe, he might play this week. We don't know yet. At the time I'm making this video, we don't know yet. But I am going to make this video under the assumption that he does not play, and it is Mike Davis. And so with Mike Davis, I'm telling you right now, that is absolutely a key for the Bears in this matchup, which is going to be to slow down Mike Davis. So like I mentioned, not just stop Mike Davis in the rushing department. No, stop him in the receiving department as well. So make that a focus. And this is a key here because of the fact that the Bears' run defense has been awful. It has been awful. The Bears have been a pretty, bend but don't break type of defense overall. But in terms of the run defense, it's broken. Oh, it's broken. We miss Eddie Goldman bad, folks. And we lost out on Snacks Harrison. And again, at this point, I don't know what the answer is in terms of us filling up and stopping that run defense. But the Bears need to figure out quick, fast, and in a hurry, because we've had a number of guys run all over us. Ronald Jones ran all over us last week against the Bucs, all right? So Mike Davis can do the exact same thing. So that's going to be my first key, is to stop Mike Davis. And I can't believe I'm saying that, but yes, stop Mike Davis, not just in the rushing department, but also in the receiving department, because he can catch out of the backfield, all right? So that's my first key for the Bears in this matchup. My second key for the Bears in this matchup is we've got a funnel here, folks, all right? So if you watch these previews long enough, you should know I try to focus on the other team's tendencies, weaknesses, and we've got a clear weakness here. The Panthers are trash against the run. They cannot stop anybody. They are awful against the run. All right, let me give you some numbers here. Last week, Todd Gurley, the old washed-up degenerative knee, arthritis in his knee, Todd Gurley, ran for 14 carries for 121 yards and a touchdown over the Panthers. All right, 14 carries, 121 rush yards against the Panthers. The week before, Kyler Murray and Kenyon Drake combined for 19 carries for 113 yards. Week before that, Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly combined for 20 carries for 102 yards and a touchdown. Leonard Fournette runs 12 carries for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs in week 1, 25 carries, 93 yards, 3 touchdowns. You get the point. The Panthers cannot stop the run. Similar to the Bears, but they are way worse. Way worse. It's not even close, all right? They are awful, which means what? I hope you guys know where I'm going with this. It is time for the breakout David Montgomery game. Yes, that is right. This is the week. I can taste it. I can smell it. I can feel it. This is the David Montgomery show this week. I am booking it right here, right now for you guys. 100+ rushing yards for David Montgomery and a touchdown. This game needs to be a heavy dose of David Montgomery. Remember what I said last week? I said I'd like to establish the run, but the Bucs are the best run defense in the entire NFL. All right? And so it's going to be difficult to do so, and that's what ended up happening. You couldn't find any rushing room against the Bucs. And now flip it to this week, folks, and it's the complete opposite. the Bucs are one of the best, if not the best run defense. The Panthers are one of the worst, if not the worst run defense. And so now it's time to flip the script. It's time to focus and put the ball in David Montgomery's belly and put it down the Panthers' throat and just absolutely utilize him. All right, it is time to feed David Montgomery. I want no less than 20 carries. No less. I want 20 carries. Matt Nagy, if you're listening to this, I need 20 carries from David Montgomery this week. There's no doubt about it. Okay, so I'm calling it right now on record. Bold prediction. It's not even bold to me. I think it's going to happen. 100-plus rushing yards and a touchdown for David Montgomery. He should have more than that. But that's what I'm saying this week. It's a heavy dose of him. So we don't need Nick Foles airing it out 30, 40 times a game. We don't need him. If Nick Foles ends up throwing the ball 40 times this game, then Matt Nagy clearly has not watched the tape and seen what exactly he needs to do against this opponent. Because, again, the Panthers can't stop the run. So this is the David Montgomery game. So those are basically the two main keys in this matchup for me for the Bears. It's you stop Mike Davis both in rushing and receiving because he's kind of become the engine for the Panthers ever since they lost CMC. And you feed David Montgomery because they are a clear run funnel and the Panthers can't stop the run. And it is time to feed David Montgomery. I don't want Cordell Patterson. I don't want a lot of carries from him. I don't want Ryan Nall. I think this week we do activate Lamar Miller, so I do think Lamar Miller will be active, but I need a heavy dose of David Montgomery this week. Okay, a couple other things to focus on. The Bears better really focus on tackling this week because DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, these guys, they are very, very good after the catch, and they can just blaze. And DJ Moore had one last week where he just ran past the defense. Because Teddy Bridgewater doesn't throw deep shots. He's not a big armed quarterback. He's the guy who will look for stuff underneath, let his receivers make the play after the catch. And that's what DJ Moore does. That's what Robbie Anderson does. So you better be able to tackle. And you better be able to tackle Mike Davis because he is a tackle-breaking machine, similar to David Montgomery, all right? So tackling should be a priority this week against the Panthers. So overall, I am not taking the Panthers lightly. I'm not saying the Panthers are a legitimate Super Bowl contender or anything like that. They're, to me, not even a playoff team. They're really not. But they're playing well. They're playing good football. They've got a new head coach, a new quarterback. They're playing more well-rounded football without Christian McCaffrey. Like I mentioned earlier, they're not CMC dependent like before. And so you can't take them lightly. Let's not look over to the Panthers. I hope the Bears don't. But I do predict that the Bears will win this game against the Carolina Panthers by a final score of 24-17. So a relatively low-scoring game just because, like I said, I believe our defense can stop this Panthers offense. We might not be able to shut them down, but again, bend but don't break. And on the other side, I believe a heavy dose of David Montgomery this week will allow us to obviously utilize their weakness, but also open up the play action for Nick Foles, open up the deep shots, if you will, for our receivers. But basically, that's going to be the key for me in this game. I got the Bears winning, and they should win this game. They're the better team, 24-17. Bears beat the Panthers. You heard it here first. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree. As always, thanks for watching.